Okay, here's my next project. I've done a video before on FlishRC. FlishRC is an outfit out of AliExpress. They basically integrate helicopters. This is a Roban EC-135, 450 scale fuselage with its associated parts. These are the landing gear. So what they do is they integrate. They develop mechanical internals and they put a package together along with a radio, this fly sky radio that's used on a lot of the other helicopters that are like this. They give you free tools and all the parts required to make this helicopter. So basically, one of the good things about this is that they've simulated a fenestron fan on this, which I really like. It's a motor driven fan. So the mechanics will be fitting in here. It's very simple. You connect up they use the H1 flight controller. They have a CNC head 4-blade. They use the Fly Sky receiver, brushless motor, and gear. So there's no transmission of power to the rear because the rear is a motor-driven tail. So then this basically fits in here, and put the blades, you balance the blades, you put them on there. But I believe they're already balanced. But anyway, so this is the next project for me. And what I would do is I'm going to add LEDs in this. So I would have lights at the fins. I'll have the fins here, and I'll have 2 lights here, 1 light up there, and you know, all the lights that are required for navigation on a EC-135. Okay, so this is the 450. I also have the 500 version, which is this one. As you can see, it's much bigger, and it also has fenestron fan. It came with a radio, came with some tools, blades, landing gear, and the fins, mechanics, and they also give you a charger. I also got a charger for the 450, but anyhow, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to add LEDs. I'm going to most likely add, this is hollow. I'm going to add some plastic here so that, and I would spray it and tint it so it's nice and dark. This is the LED lights that I would be putting in here. They're also from Roban, but FlishRC sells them. And this mechanic, I'll go in more detail, but you could see it's got a Hobby Wing ESC, FlishRC motor, 2 ACs. One is for the rear motor and one is for the front. And then you have these standard size, no, I guess not standard, but these are 500 size servos from FlishRC. The head is a Tarot head. For those of you who know, Tarot is a pretty famous aftermarket company. They make a lot of CNC parts for helicopters. It has a GPS module, H1 flybarless controller that has a barometric pressure sensor in here. And these helicopters are more like a, you know, they'll be flying like drones. But so then this, like the 450, just fits in here, tight, fits in here, and you balance the blades and put them on here. Anyhow, so stay tuned. I'll be having a series of videos, maybe, and then mixing them all up in one. What I meant is I'm going to make a bunch of videos, each component that I'm making, and edit it into one video. Hopefully it won't be too long. Thank you. Okay, the first step of my build is to drill the holes for the LEDs. So for the nav lights on the fins, I'm going to drill a hole here and on this side, and I'm going to drill a hole in these fins on one side and pull the wire out on this other side and install. And I'm going to try to make it drill here at the tip. That's going to be pretty difficult, but I've done it before on another one. So I basically make a hole here and snake the wire through and into the fuse. On the bottom, I'm going to drill here and here for lights, and on the top here. So I'll do that and come back. Okay, just to show you some progress, the way I did this is I drilled a hole for the fins. I put the fins together first and then marked a spot here and used a drill to slowly and very carefully go through here, making sure you don't poke out on this side and this side. So I made a hole there, and then here I roughed up the paint so that the epoxy is going to be adhering better. And you can see on the fuse I did the same thing, made a hole and roughed up the inside. So the plan is to cut the wire and snake it through on either side of these fins through the fuselage. Okay, so I went ahead and installed the LEDs, and I fished it through the tail. I also add another one up here. This was a little painful. It was very difficult to bring it. I had to make a hole here, like that, and then I fished the wire. On my other 450s, the wire could go right through and in here, but since this has a motor, they have put a support here, and it was difficult to put the wire through there. It wouldn't go. So I had to make a hole up here and bring the wire through and fish it through there. Not my favorite way, but it does the job right now. And then I'm gonna epoxy this up here on both sides. I put the wire there so you can see the wiring is coming through, and I did some hot glue to hold the wires in place. And that's the module for the lights, the lighting module. Again, there's another light in the front here, the front beacon, strobe at the bottom, strobe on top, and the two nav lights on each side, and the tail. Moving on. Next, I'm going to put the landing gear on, and I will epoxy this on, and I'm going to also put a BEC on this, so I'll solder the BEC. I'll show you guys that as well. Thanks. So I installed the lights, put the fins back on, like I showed you, epoxy coated this area, and put the landing gear on. You have to make sure that it's nice and level once you put it on. I put a little bit of CA glue in these joints after it's nice and level. These are just some vibration dampeners that they they give. So next I'm going to add some windows here. There's nothing here, I don't like it. I'm gonna put that on, and then I do spray it to tint it a little bit so it looks nicer. But if I take this out a little more. Okay. The lights are all working, although I don't see the strobes right now, but it does work. Take it out and put it back in. Here's the inside. Okay, continuing. So, as I noted earlier, I put the LEDs in here and the skids, and also I put some additional windows. I didn't like it to be empty. Although, you know, sometimes people think that it's good to have it open for airflow. For the time that you fly this thing, it doesn't really matter. That's been my experience. So I'd rather it be looking scale like this. I tinted it and added some mylar here, some thick plastic. So it looks really nice, I think. Once I put the decals on, it's going to look pretty good. Now this fuselage I have, I also have a traditional 450 that I had previously. It's in the process of being converted, but this is how it would look if it had a typical 450 frame mechanics in here, using Beast X. But and this has a tail. You see, this has a tail mechanic. The difference between this and this new system is that there's no tail mechanics. This is a motor driven. So you can see that the fuselage will start looking really, really cool once you put all the decals on. That blue really sticks out. So you can say I like EC 135s. Anyways, back to this one here. This is the mechanics from FlishRC. So we're gonna have to put them back in. Now, the way to do that is first things first. Okay, you have to put the bottom of this thing on, and this is the front. There are no instructions, you just have to kind of make sense out of what they've given me here. They have put markers. This is the body, so I'm assuming these three go here. 1, 2, and 3. Let's just start this. And I'll tell you what I did with the BEC as well. I added a BEC because I like to have an external voltage control. So they're trying to do a really nice job here with integrating the mechanics and the scale fuselages. I also have their AS350, I'm sorry, and I've done a video on that. For some reason, they don't seem to be very popular, but maybe people will pick up, because these are really a lot more quality than the RC-ERA helicopters for the money that you spend. So I put these three in there, okay? This is for the head. Maybe we should put that on now. Come on. Oh, okay. This is, it really nice, makes it look nice. So I want to put a little bit of a Loctite on this because it's going to be, I put the 242, Loctite 242, blue Loctite. Very little, not too much needed. Drop it in here. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, so now we're gonna fit this mechanic into its slot. First we need to connect the motor, rear motor. And this is a very simple connection. You can't go wrong because it's all there. And then this is the GPS connection. Make sure it's the right way. Make sure it connects in nicely. This thing is very loose. I guess it's by design. It's very kind of soft. So we will, okay, and then, all right, so what I did on the ESC, I gotta show you. This controller is at 7.4 volts. And in order for me to put the lights on, the light module can't be at 7.4 volts. It needs about maximum, 5 volts. So I took the red wire off of this, where it was providing power to the receiver, and the receiver is now being supplied 5 volts by my BEC, which is a Castle Creations 10 amp BEC, pretty reliable BEC. So in order to do that, I had to make this gadget where I connect into the battery at 4 volts. I'm sorry, at 14.8 volts, which is 4S. And this connects into the ESC here, which is a 60 amp ESC flywing by flywing. And the outlet of this ESC is 7.4 volts to the flight controller. So we separated the voltages. The BEC is now connected, and it supplies my receiver only. Okay. So we're going to connect the lights to channel 6. That's where I want it, channel 6. If I can do it and hold the camera properly. Okay. Channel 6, and you got the okay. Now this slides right into that groove over there. See the groove, it's sliding right in. And then here in the front, there are 3 holes. And we have the screws for that here. These screws basically go in these holes here. You can see. All right. Put that in. So they've tried to really make this simple. They're still a boutique shop. They're not like big time. But but we're trying. This is the first screw. Tighten it. Second screw with the washers. And I will also position the antennas at a 90 degree. I'll show you what I had in mind. Step by step. We also have to make sure none of the wires get caught up in the gears. And the third one. Okay, so I'd like to take one of these antennas and put it under to go on this side, this direction. I'll secure it later. To go this direction. And this other one, I'd like it to go back. So away from the battery, but in 90 degrees to the other antenna. Okay, that way we have covered the 90-degree angle like this. Okay? And yeah, okay. So that's that. So then we will place this probably on this side, somewhere away from the radio. Maybe on this, just put it on here for now. We can secure it later. Okay, we're gonna secure that later. Okay, so that really is it. And then you put the blades on. I personally, they're supposed to be balanced, but I'm going to balance these. Make sure I number it 1, 2, 3, 4 and balance it. The phasing is already accounted for with this head, and but I will still check it. That's it, as easy as this. You know, and then you put the decals on and she will turn and look something like this guy. So only a few decals like this one, but this blue one really comes out. Anyways, I really like this, and you guys we'll do the maiden flight as well. But very cool. Okay, now we're going to do a test on the electronics to make sure everything's running nicely. Of course, without blades. This is the battery that came with it. It's a 5200 14.8 4S. It's a 4S battery. Okay, so what I did was I made this connector where I have put the BEC tapped into it, and it's connected to the ESC. Originally it didn't have this. The battery basically plugged into the ESC. This is your typical Flywing ESC, 60 amp ESC. The outlet voltage from this is 7.2 volts, which I noted earlier. And that wasn't enough. I mean, that was too much voltage for the lighting module that I put on this. So that was replaced with this BEC as an external BEC. It's a 10 amp Castle Creations, just your 10 amp BEC. It's a switching BEC. So let's put the battery on here. I'm going to have to check the CG of this helicopter as well, because with the battery, what I mean is with the battery and the canopy, when I hold it here, it should really not tail backwards. It's tailing backwards. See that? It's the load is a little tail. It's a little bit tail heavy. So the way to fix that is you put a little bit more weight up front in here. So I might do that or just fly it with a bigger battery. Okay. It's too tight. Wow. Okay. All right. So here's the radio. We're gonna start her up. Okay, now I took all the blades off and everything. So all the buttons should be pushed up. The stop button, the normal home for this to start. Now we don't want the GPS right now when we start, so we're gonna go down to 3D. We're just going to check the swash plate and the servos and make sure they're all running right. It's checking. That's the H1 controller. Okay, now, right aileron, left aileron, forward, backwards. Pitch up, pitch down, pitch up, pitch down. It's working, everything looks good. Now let's get her started. So you go like this, and you see that H1 controller LED flashing, so you can press run. I'm going to check the gyro directions. Forward pitch. Backwards. You see the swash plate is doing the right thing. It's wanting to keep it up and down. Likewise, so this is working. I'll put the and you see the LEDs are now working properly. Great. I'm happy with this so far. So I'm just gonna put the decals on and get it ready for maiden flight. Final product. Looking good. Can't wait to maiden. Beautiful. I put it on the GPS mode. We're gonna wait for the GPS to find its satellite. There's a light in there checking. It's flashing orange, if you can see it. It's gonna get green once it finds its satellite. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. There you go. It's green. You see it? All right, so now she's ready for takeoff. Make sure it's secure. We did the pre-flight checks. We're in GPS mode. So you have to hold this down. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, and the LEDs have modes. I think I have 9 modes on these LEDs. I like the knobs to be solid. That's everything on. That's off. Yeah, this is the best with you have the probes and then you have the rest of them solid. All right. Very smooth. This is the second flight. Second battery, I should say. $5,200 mAh. I can put in about 8.5 minutes on this. We get down to about 3.85 volts per cell. You can probably go more. You can probably go for 10 minutes. I'm going to build the 500 after this. It was a pretty easy build. Everything came as you saw it on the video. The only thing I added in here are the LEDs and the windows. I like it better when I tint it. It's nicer looking. And the tail doesn't sound that bad at all, honestly. Sounds like a turbine instead of like a whining motor. Smooth operation. Beautiful. I'm loving it. If you like scale models, 450s are a good size, but you still need to make sure you can't fly this in your backyard. You need to have a flying field. Sounds awesome. What a performance. Not bad. Sure feels much different than the RC/RA little guys. This one has a lot of presence. Very controllable. And 5 times the cost. That's the problem. This is not cheap. Complete package on this helicopter was about $700, including the radio, ready to run, ready to fly. And they give you a charger, battery. They give you a battery reader, tools, a set of tools. You saw that earlier. But it's the thought of putting it together that matters. They put a nice package together, and I think it's worth it. I really do. I'm not on a commission or anything with these guys. I'm not even doing an official review. This is my own doing and model. So giving credit where it's due. They do a good job, and their service is pretty good. I mean, they always respond to me. This is FlishRC out of AliExpress or Alibaba. They're a store. Pretty soon, I think they're going to become a independent store, because they sure deserve it. I'll stop talking. Watch the helicopter. This beautiful September evening. All right, let's do a go up. And I'm going to do a circle fly. Circle fly. No, figure 8. Again, figure 8. I'm not doing anything. It's doing it itself. I'm going to go to normal. Okay, normal flight. This is normal flight. So let's go up. Let's bring her home. I'm bringing her home. I'm not doing anything. Let's see where it goes. All right, that's about right. Not touching it. It stays there for a little bit. If I press down, it should come down on its own. Okay. It comes down real slow. Shuts off on its own, and I'll go ahead and press off or stop. Beautiful. Great job, FlishRC. I'm going to try the 500 scale as well, the yellow one. Wait for the GPS as usual. There you go. Guess it's faster when it does it a few times and it learns at the jobs, same site. Okay, again, hold down 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1004. Let the timer start. Okay. I'm gonna apply for 6 minutes on this one. I have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. By the way, the CG was okay. There's nothing wrong with the CG with the 5200. I didn't have to add anything. This is a 4,000 mAh battery and it's lighter. This is the third flight. No, not a problem. Too far. Let's come closer. Beautiful flying machine. Rock steady. All right, let's see if I press home here, what happens. Home. It's gonna go up. Turn. Likes to take its time. I'm not doing anything. Beautiful.